All praises to the Most High. Hey, beautiful people, the giants, children of the fallen. So, in the book of Genesis, chapter 6, verse 2, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them, wives of which they chose, and they became the giants. Now, the book of Enoch, chapter 7, and it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of heaven, the sons of God, as in Genesis 6 and 2, saw and lusted after them, and said one to another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. And Shazmaiah, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear you will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. And they all answered. Now I'm going to stop there. Who's Enoch? We're going to get back into the book of Enoch, but who is Enoch? The book of Deuteronomy chapter 19 and 15. One witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity or for any sin in any sin that he sins, or and at the mouth of two witnesses or at the mouth of three witnesses shall the matter be established. So now in the book of Genesis, we have about the giants. Now we have in the book of Enoch talking about the giants, the fallen angels sleeping with with human beings, the children of men, and then their children becoming giants. But now, so at the mouth of two witnesses, the statement's true. So we heard it in Genesis, we heard it in Enoch. Now, who is Enoch? You got to read the book of Genesis chapter 4 and chapter 5, and you'll know who Enoch is. And he's referenced other places in the Bible where I'm going to get into right now. Genesis chapter 5 and verse 22. And Enoch walked with God after he begot Methuselah 300 years and begot sons and daughters. Genesis 5 and 23. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years. Genesis 5 and 24. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. Now Luke 3 and 37, which was the son of Methuselah, which was the son of Enoch, which was the son of Jared, which was the son of Mahalalel, which was the son of Canaan. Now the book of Hebrews chapter 11 verse 5, by faith Enoch was translated that he should not see death, and was not found, because God had translated him. For because his translation he had this testimony that he pleased God. Now the book of Jude chapter 1 verse 14, and Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these things, saying, Behold, the Lord comes with 10,000s of his saints. Now we have established that Enoch is a prophet and walked with God and was taken from the earth, and that the words of Enoch is scripture in which they read and learned and taught about. So the words of Enoch, as we know, the other prophets learned and taught about them, as in Luke and as in Jude, made reference of him. Now, Acts 15 and 15. And to this agree the words of the prophet, as it is written. Now Luke chapter 24 and 44. And he said unto them, These are the words which I spoke unto you while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled which were written in the law of Moses and in the prophets, in the Psalms concerning me. So how does God didn't give you religion, he gave you his word in the law of Moses and in the prophets and in the Psalms concerning Christ and concerning the word. Now Jeremiah 26 and 5, to hearken to the words of my servants, the prophets, whom I sent unto you, both rising up early and sending them, but you have not hearkened. Now back to the book of Enoch. Him and said, Let us all answer, let us all swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by mutable imprecations, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing, to take the daughters of men. Then swear they all together, and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And they were in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon. And they called it Mount Hermon, because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And these are the names of their leaders: Shazmaiah their leader, Akabah, Ramael, Komael, Tamael, Ramael, Daniel, Ezael, Basrael, Azrael, Asmarus, Bathros, Anael. Okay, I'm not going to get into all the fallen angels, but these are their chieftains. Now chapter 8. And all the others together with them took unto themselves wives, and each chose for themselves one, and they began to go in unto them and to defile themselves with them. And they taught them charms and enchantments and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants, and they became pregnant, and they bare great giants whose heights were 3,000 eels, who consumed all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and to drink the blood. Then the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. And Azael taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth, and the art of working them in bracelets and ornaments, and the use of autonomy, and the beautifying of the eyelids, makeup, and all kinds of costly stones, and all coloring tinctures. And there arose much godlessness, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray and became corrupt in all their ways. Shazmaiah taught enchantments and root cuttings. Amarias, the resolving of enchantments. Bagael taught astrology. Remember I told you about horoscopes? Kobael, the constellations. Ezekiel, the knowledge of clouds. Arakel, the signs of the earth. Shasmael, the sons of the sun, the signs of the sun. And Sazrael, the course of the moon. And as man perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven. Now, and then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood being shed upon the earth. And all the lawless began wrought upon the earth. And they said one to another, the earth made without inhabitant cries, the voice of their crying up to the gates of heaven. And now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men make their suit, saying, bring our case before the Most High. And they said to the Lord of ages, Lord of lords, God of gods, King of kings, and God of the ages,